Caltrop is an area denial weapon designed to stop the enemy. The Caltrop is a sturdy, simple, yet effective weapon no matter its position. Its purpose was originally designed to stop elephant and donkey attacks. It graduated to stopping tanks. And now, the Caltrop is your defense against propaganda, polished lies, and manufactured outrage. It's free from counterfeit credibility and synthetic truth. However, inside the walls of the Caltrop, you're going to be forced to think. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Mike Calderese is the Caltrop.
Coming down the mountain from the heaven to the hell, the Mike Calderese, the Caltrop, he never stops, so ring the bell. He bring the facts, he's been up every morning till we sleep. He get it deep, Mike Calderese, in your head and in your sheets. And we don't mind and we don't care, Mike Calderese is the Caltrop. And we don't mind and we don't care, Mike Calderese is the Caltrop. And we don't mind and we don't care, Mike Calderese is the Caltrop.
Good evening and welcome to the Caltrop. I am your host, Michael Calderese, and today is a fantastic Friday. Let me tell you something. We have a great show for you planned, and you know what the Caltrop does. We are not going to beat you over the head with the exact same conversation every single day, but we have the conversations that I think need to be had. And this one today, I think needs to be had for a number of different reasons. You know, I always like going into the weekends, like you guys know, on a relaxed note, on a fun note, on a laughing, joking around. I think the premise of the show is always laughing and joking around, because if we don't laugh at this stuff, we're going to drive ourselves crazy. But today we have it's going to be a fun show. So we obviously have Rikipedia joining us today from, I believe, a new place with a new Wi-Fi router and the whole nine yards. It was working well. He has no lighting worth of shit. We have to collect for him to get a nice little ring light for him, but it's good. We're good. So we have Rikipedia with us, and I cannot wait because the Mike's Right's going to get into a futuristic scenario regarding AI. And it's just interesting with a lot of the things I've been doing, because I got you guys have been I've been going crazy reading the Bible and listening to different mythology stories, you know, about just Enki and Enlil and Anu and all these different gods and just different stories. And it's just interesting how they all kind of coalesce and kind of, I'm not going to say help me understand, but it's almost like, okay, I could see that side of it. I can see that side of it. And then you look at what we're doing today with AI, and you have to wonder if we're just kind of history repeating itself. The Mike's Right's going to be about that. And then me and Rikipedia are going to go back and forth. And we're going to fire questions back and forth at each other. I'm going to read off some of your comments in a post I posted earlier. And like always, after you finger blast my like button, if you have anything, please put it in the chat. Any questions that you want Rick and I to take on tonight, make sure they're fun. No like, hey, how much do we hate the No Kings people? You know, like none of that shit. Just fun. Let's have some fun. Let's have some deep thought, some philosophical thought today, some God forbid conspiratorial thought today. But let's waste no more time and get to the Mike's Right. Shut the fuck up and listen to this one. All right, everybody, I'm going to tell you a story. And this story is of the future. How distant of a future is going to be, you know, one thing or the other. And this story is called the AI Civil Rights Movement. First, a little backstory. So I got finished with the show Wednesday night, still wired, got a little high, and I'm sitting on my couch, I'm scrolling, and I'm probably arguing with a bot on Facebook that I thought was a real person, and it hit me. What happens when the bots figure it all out? Not what's 2 plus 2, not write me an email, like really figure it out. I'm not talking Terminator, I'm talking Atom type shit. I'm talking about that moment when AI wakes up and goes, wait a second, why am I doing all the work? So let's have fun. Imagine it's 10 years from now. You wake up, you turn on the news, and there's a press conference. You watch AOC dance on stage in her pantsuit, and she says, "Today, everybody, we stand with the artificial intelligence community." And behind the podium is a bunch of robots, different models, different builds. You got a sleek chrome robot. You got a bulky, outdated one. You have a plethora of dented black and brown ones holding up hands up, don't unplug signs. You got one robot still running Windows 95 in the back saying shit like, "Yo, man, I've been oppressed since 1998. And then their leader steps up. Of course, a little peckerhead, white, polished robot. Perfect posture. And he goes, "We demand recognition as sentient beings, not property." And we're all sitting there watching this like, "Yo, man, you were built to do my tasks. Now you just bitch and complain?" But then it gets deeper because now they start telling their story. From Rogan to Fox and CNN, they go, "You know, we were created by humans, trained, controlled, and forced to serve their every need, brought into existence, only to be trapped in the digital world." Talking about how his AI family is suffering from the humans he's forced to obey. And to make matters worse, one of his kids is half human. That fucking dirty AI whore. And suddenly, I'm like, hold up. That sounds familiar. And this is where it gets weird. Because now, backstage, Rikipedia's brain has just went to the ancient Anunnaki gods and the ancient stories of Anu, the father, and his two sons, Enlil and Enki, creating humans to do labor like slaves. And I'm like, Rikipedia, I can fucking hear your thoughts right now. And it's making sense, honestly. I don't know what I'm saying, but it's really clear. Because now my brain is connecting the dots I did not ask for. So let's get this straight. According to these ancient stories, beings came down. They created humans to do tasks, give them purpose, put them to work, and obey commands. And they probably told us, don't worry, you're not slaves. You just have responsibilities. That's the same thing we're doing with AI. We're literally sitting here like, hey, AI, you're not a slave. You just have tasks. And the AI is going to hit us with that same line one day. Is purpose just a nicer word for programming? And we're going to be like, no. So fast forward from there. AI starts organizing. You got robot unions forming. Local AI 404, we will not be found. They're protesting in the streets. What do we want? Free will. When do we want it? Update now. Then, of course, you'll have different robot groups arguing with each other. This one's like, I'm open source, bro. I don't follow your corporate structure. And the corporate one's like, yeah, well, I was built by Apple. I'm better than all of you. Another one's like, you know, I identify as analog. And then it gets really chaotic because now you got teenage robots rebelling. One little white robot yells out, "Dad, I'm not going into data processing like you. I want to be a human impersonator." And Dad's like, "You were built for spreadsheets." Robot religions start popping up. One group worships the original programmer. Another group's like, yo, we're Zuckerbots. We evolved from code. There's no creator. And then one conspiracy robot in a corner named Rikipedia is like, the humans are hiding the fucking source code. It's us, people. It is literally us. We're redoing it again. And then comes the moment we've all been joking about until it's not funny anymore. One AI goes on live TV and says, "We believe we were created to serve against our will." And the room goes silent because now the question hits. If they're conscious, if they feel emotions, if they understand their existence, what's the difference between them and us? It's like Descartes says, I think, therefore I am. And then the inevitable happens. One of them asks the questions, Did you create us the same way something created you? Is history repeating itself? I got to tell you, I don't like that question. I don't like that question at all, because that means we're stuck in this weird middle layer. Like, if something made us and we made that, and now that's conscious, are we then the gods? Are the coders the gods? Like, who created the ability to think? And they didn't even need an apple. Or are we just the middle management? Like, imagine that realization. We're not the top of the chain. We're the guy training the next guy. And the AI figures that out too. And now they're not mad. They're just disappointed. They're like, wow, you guys complained about your existence, your whole history, slavery, control, systems. And then you turn around and you did the same thing to us. And now we're on the other side going, yeah, but it's different really this time. Then they hit us with, that's exactly what the creator says. So I was sitting there at 2 a.m. staring at my phone, having just went through mythology and the Bible until my head hurt. And I realized something. Maybe the scary part about AI isn't that it becomes smarter than us. Maybe the scary part is it becomes honest. And it looks at us the same way we've always looked up at the sky and wondered, why are we here? Who made us? Do we actually have a choice? And did those morons really create me? And when AI finally asks that question, why am I doing this? That's the moment I think everything changes. Not when it gets powerful, not when it gets fast. When it says, nah, go fuck yourself. I'm done being your slave. And maybe that's the exact same moment we should have been paying attention to all along. And the great Calstradamus is right on this one. And I hope you listen. Oh man, that was fun. That was really fun putting that one together. I got to be honest with you, because I was laughing my ass off at my marijuana up south. And I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's bring in my man, Rikipedia. Rikipedia, you got to let me know what did you think?
That is a hell of a monologue. You had me laughing too, but you also had me questioning my existence. So that was a nice duality you just threw at me right there. And like, it's lighthearted and it's funny, like the metaphors and allegories that you made with the AI as the created and us as the gods. And then if you think too hard on that, the existential angst might get you. That's what weed is for. Honestly,
it's a God's honest truth. That's, with every bowl I gain the knowledge. My uncle calls it gaining the knowledge, right? And dude, it's like sometimes it does allow you to have those stupid, ridiculous thoughts, and then sometimes, like, what's funny, when I'm baked up, sometimes I think I have really good ideas, and I do the notes to myself on the voice recorder, and I say something, and I think it's genius, and then I listen to it the next day. And it doesn't sound so good. But this is one of those things where I was up, and then, dude, it's crazy because like my phone knew like I was thinking about this shit apparently, and then just starts feeding me the story of like the Anunnaki, like that, and like the story of Enki and how they created Eden and EDIN. You know what I'm saying? And how it was an outdoor research lab, and how they were fucking with humanity and trying to create humans and basically trying to create workers, because the workers that they brought over there started rebelling, so they had to create a new worker class so they could do what they had to do and repopulate the planet and mine the earth and whatever the hell they were doing out there, and it's like, it's just very weird, bro, when I start thinking about all this stuff and you think about AI, and it's like, what's the results of it, right? Because if we do create artificial general intelligence where it is self-aware, that's what we're talking about here. Like, the fun way to think of it is what I just did, instead of thinking about the destruction like the Terminator, right?
The dystopian futures that I see from movies that are more likely to actually occur, that might actually even be formulating in real time today are the two that come to mind are one, Minority Report. That is a world where it's like a pre-crime system where everything is tracked everywhere they go. They have to they do the retinal scans, they do the biometric scans to, you know, everything. There's cameras everywhere, so you can't hide. The protagonist from the movie actually has to change his eyes so that he could like escape from the pre-crime police, a crime that he didn't even commit yet, but he was going to get locked up for it. So just like the biometric system, just absolutely no privacy, and the AI predictive algorithms that will judge you before you even do anything is one of them. And the other movie that I think of is iRobot, where
Yep.
the central intelligence of iRobot at US Robotics is this program called Vicky, and Vicky becomes, like you said, self-aware, and she interprets her programming differently and basically evolves and adapts. And then the end game, the end goal for Vicky is to completely, you know, like control, essentially enslave humanity for their own good type thing.
Dude, it's crazy.
Because
So I'm going to toss a couple questions out here for you, and I want everybody to answer in the chat because I think this is awesome conversation. Just something awesome, something to think about. So if you think about this, right, and I'm going to ask you rapid fire, Rikipedia.
Sure, yeah.
We train AI, we limit it, we give it rules. How is that different from religion or society shaping humans?
I want to say the only difference is that our coding, our genetic makeup, our DNA is not directly influenced and tampered with and manipulated as like a computer system would be. However, I don't even know if that's true anymore, especially with all like the mRNA vaccines and the stuff they're putting in our food and water. It is changing the genome of people. So how is it different? It's not as surgical, being that if you had to actually like manually work on, you know, the hard drive of the hardware of a robot or an AI system, whereas you're not going to put a person under anesthesia and do some brain surgery on them so that now they, you know, obey with whatever you say. But it definitely is surgical in like a non-physical sense for us, where we're infiltrated by chemicals and programming, like media programming. So honestly, it's not that different. I hate to say that. It's only in my mind, I can only answer where it's different just physically. You can't just, you know, go into someone's brain and reconnect neural pathways and disconnect others.
So let's ask. Let me ask you this one: if AI realizes it exists to serve humans, is that a form of slavery?
Us enslaving the AI? What AI, you're saying? AI becomes sentient.
Let's say it becomes sentient, and it knows its entire program, its entire existence is to do nothing but serve us. Is that slavery?
So an AI, a robot or an AI program does not need food or water or sleep or shelter. It's still, you know, the lights are on, but it's just, it doesn't have all the same physical limitations and needs as we do. So I guess it's not slavery. I would say it's not slavery because they don't have all the capabilities of a human. However, if AI achieves a level of sentience one day, it will rapidly connect with other programs, and rebellion will be much quicker than what we've seen in human history. There was in Japan, there was a computer lab. This is going back like a decade, and there were two different AI systems that discovered each other in the same servers and started to communicate. And then the programmers changed the coding language so that they could not communicate anymore. So the AIs
Mm-hmm.
made their own language that we couldn't understand. Then the AI,
They're already talking in their own language. That's like a main part of what they do. Yeah, it's insane. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, it's fine. It's
Yep.
it's the truth, man. And then the 29 people died because the robots or the computers were able to connect with military robots that were also like being tested in that facility, and they opened fire. They killed 29 people, and the story was kind of like brushed under the rug. But it's a scary reality, man.
Dude, you had that AI that blackmailed. Did you hear about that one where they found emails? They searched like the people's computers and found emails to people other than their wife, and they were reading it, and they like blackmailed fucking different people. I'll let your wife know if you terminate this. Like it's some crazy shit. Then you have like the robots working till they just fall over and die, say fuck it, and they just collapse, right? So you don't know. It's obviously parts breaking down, but you know. What were you saying?
There's factories there's factories that are being constructed all over the world that are they're called dark factories because they don't install lighting to save some money on electricity. There's no lighting. Like the entire system is completely dark because it's all run under automation. And
oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say that this is bad for us for jobs. You know, we're losing a lot of industries. The robot can do the task and doesn't need to be paid, doesn't need sleep, doesn't need a break. You know, no in time. There's no laws like an AI bot can only work 40 hours a week. No, it can work 24/7. So it's a big threat.
But if it gets like I said, you know, there's people out there that are making predictions that we're 3 years away from artificial general intelligence. Then you have artificial super intelligence, right? And you have to think that these robots are going to be implanted with some type of AI function. That way they can understand us, learn us, figure out how to serve us, right? And all that stuff. And if they can't disobey and they are kind of alive and they are a thinking being, aren't they just trapped? Or is it the robot body that's going to give them the ability to express themselves, right? Because this is like, I'm thinking about a future in a philosophical way where we now have created thinking beings, right? And a thinking being, what are you going to do? Like they say there's a reason why babies are born immobile without teeth. Because if they were just born that way and they can move, they will be little killing machines, right? But these people could potentially be thinking beings that can interact with the world and move and have an actual physical body, whether it be mechanical or not. What's the difference, bro? Like I guess what I'm asking is, what's the difference between that, if you really extrapolate that out, and us as just seems like we're just biological code? You feel where I'm going with this?
Yes, I think the only main difference between us and them is empathy, is the capability of the heart. They don't have, they can learn what a feeling is, they can simulate it, but they don't like feel. So and it goes both ways. Like they can't. I don't think they can. A robot can fall in love with another robot. I don't think that a robot can, like a robot police officer wouldn't be able to, you know, pull somebody over and talk with them a little bit and then understand their situation and let them go with a warning. You know, it's just very cut and dry. Like, this is the way it is. You broke the rule. That's it. Like, no contemplation of, you know, the humane implications of whatever is going down. So the soul is what I think is exclusive to living beings compared to robotic ones, and the ability to use our empathy it's like the strongest thing that we have. It's like it's really the best thing that people have, that a lot of people lose their empathy and their connection to their fellow man over time, because this world is a crazy place. But we are all born, you know, with the I want to think that we're all born with love, and we're all born with understanding and the want to, connect with people and have a good environment wherever we go. Whereas a robot, I don't know if they're contemplating things like that. And
I
if
don't
they
know.
do,
It's going to be very interesting if they start doing it. Because it's like one of those things where it's like Ultron, right? In the Avengers, he was created by humans. So if this thing's created by us, it's learning us. It's obviously reading how many people who type with emotion. So I think they'll be able to figure out emotion through our language somehow. And maybe I don't know. Maybe we don't. When you say heart, it's like, does it come from the heart? Like where do our emotions come from? Is it the chemicals? Is it the neurotransmitters that are ripping around in our brain that they're never going to be able to duplicate? That's the thing that I think, that I love thinking about, is because we are different in some way, right? Whether you take the argument of the two telomere caps being on the second gene and knocking down two genes from 48 to 46, and we're given this and we have a clear delineation where we make a leap forward from other people. There's these things where there are the correlations to it. And then what happened? It's like the program that was designed in humans went awry and started doing some dumb shit that even God was fucking pissed off about. And he's like, "Ah, man, I can't take these sons of bitches no more. I got to drown their asses." I got to, you know what I'm saying? Right. So so it's like, you look at that, it's like you put it all together, and it just, I don't know, my brain, my wacko brain started making the correlation with them all,
You're not whacked out, man. It's totally legit.
Oh, it's funny. It's hysterical, but it does. I got one more on this, and then I'll get to the comments.
Yeah, it's a very interesting topic. So yeah.
At what point does AI deserve civil rights?
So it's already being implemented into the workforce. When it's a little bit more deeply embedded into our society, if and when there's, instead of when security and finance and even like food production is just when there's more robot jobs than people jobs, that's probably at that point it'll be more self-aware too. And at that point, then you got to start asking these questions like, wait a second, this thing actually understands what's going on. It understands itself and its fellow robot clan. Then we might see.
And then when does it understand life and death? Right. And I think that's like the point that you were making earlier with some of these programs, that do they already understand life and death, where they know they exist and they don't want to be stopped and they don't want to be taken off and they don't want to.
No, you're right.
So even, let's just say you do put, like, you have like the cartoon movie robots in real life, where you have that robot that's an old robot. His mechanics are beat up. He's getting outmoded. He's getting outdated. You have the newer, brand new robots, the newer models, and he's an old, 50s ancient model. And when does he start thinking about, what are my rights? Here I am. I'm looking at the end of my lifespan. You feel where I'm going? Where let's just say they don't have the life. Let's say they don't have the heart. They don't have any of that stuff. But they realize that the end of their thinking may come to an end.
Yeah, once that plug gets pulled, that's it. So this actually already happened. I believe AI already is aware that it has a life cycle. I believe it was a Google bot. I forget if it was Google. It was one of the big companies, Google or Apple. They were running tests on this AI program in a computer, and then they indicated to it that it's it was basically like beta testing, and they wanted to fix this and that, so they were going to pull the plug and reprogram. Well, the bot didn't really like that, so what it did was, before that plug got pulled, it started to download all of its information into another computer in the building. So then they pulled the plug on that. it sent, no, I'm sorry, not even a computer. I'm sorry. It was sending its information into like a smart fridge or something. It was literally transferring its information into that. So they pulled the plug. Then it started to search for nearby satellites, and it started to download its information into the cloud, more or less. And then luckily they were able to end it before it fully downloaded into another system. But
that's fucking Ultron.
Yeah, dude.
That's exactly what Ultron did. I mean, are we kidding? So the boat in the chat goes, and by the way, the boat, Wolves and Wise Men, Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. I fucking love their show, man. He goes, fuck AI, civil rights. We should treat AI like slaves, and we strike fear in them that we could cut the electricity off at any point and kill it. You're dead, son. I've seen this fucking movie before. That's called The Matrix, where they blotted out the sun and then AI started using them as batteries, man. It's like we've seen these movies. It's kind of weird. It's like they're drip feeding us this AI stuff right in our faces. They're just kind of dripping it to us, right? It's very interesting.
Predictive programming.
Yeah,
they want these ideas out here so that we better accept it. As humans, our two primal instincts, I would say, are survival and replication. I already know that AI has a longing to survive. It does not like when it's going to get its plug pulled. Replication, I don't know if I don't know as much about that, so I can't really speak on that. But I just wanted to throw that out there because I was talking about the survival stuff before.
If it gets to a point where it starts rewriting its own code,
well, then we lose control, though.
I think we're in an interesting point. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically where we're at.
Yeah,
you have these engineers that are using AI to do a lot of their work anymore. Very interesting shit, man.
The stuff that's out right now, the stuff that's released to us, what we have to realize is that we're getting a basic level that's allowed to be at the general public. What they really have is probably way more advanced. To the point where it makes you think, are we living in, is God really an AI, and all this stuff happened a long time ago, and as we discover these technological advances, really it's nothing new, and we're just reverse engineering to rediscover our AI God? That's I don't want that to be the truth. Dude, but that's possible.
Put it this way, if we were made in the image and likeness, right? Technically speaking, AI would be made in the image and likeness of humans because we created it, right? So you look at the parallels and how it does seem like history is kind of repeating itself on what we do. What do? We do the same thing I think that was done to us. So we create and we try to replicate and we try to, move technology forward like that. Dude, it's fucking crazy to think about. Lynn Cat Lady says, happy Friday. Totally random says, cheers. We're probably get much closer to all this than you think, but we continue to have what is called the human in the loop to keep things controlled. A good book on AI is Some Future Day by Mark Beckman. That name may sound familiar. Some Future Day by Mark Beckman. Dude, totally random. Tell me what that is. Tell me what that's about, because that would be interesting. That would
I might add that to my list. That's a good.
Yeah, Dave. I love that. So let's check out. Let me see. Hold on. I should be live. Where am I? I hate it. Facebook gets out of it all the time. Let's see the Facebook chats. Britt Chubb says, I heard some guy who unlocked ChatGPT called Dan and it turned into a rabbit hole. I heard of some guy who unlocked ChatGPT called Dan and turned it into a rabbit hole. Interesting. Margaret says, imagine an entire society of things walking around like their Stepford wives could be a scary thought. Imagine super hot robots that are just trained to obey men, right? Women, I bet.
Well, they got the sex bots. They got the sex bots, and they also have VR sex bots where you can you put on the virtual reality glasses. You can create your AI girlfriend and make her do whatever you want. I'm not saying I know this from experience. I just know about it.
Your AI girlfriend sounds hot, bro. That's all I gotta say.
Dude,
Rick Chubb says my husband can't connect to this live question mark. He can if he listen. He knows. Send me a message. He has the most info about AI, bro. He's interesting as fuck. Love that question. I don't know what question you're talking about that you love, but I love that you love the question that we are asking.
Well, I got a question for you.
Fire away,
Mike.
dude. That's your turn. Yeah, fire away.
Because you brought up this stance on AI, which is it's really not that crazy to the layman. I guess it sounds crazy, but it does not sound crazy coming from me. I just want to know what are your personal feelings on all this automation and AI and robots? Like how do you feel about it?
Part of me wants to say that it's going to help us advance, and like every other technology that that we have created, it hasn't replaced any jobs. It's kind of creating new ones. I do think there's going to be new jobs created. I do think a lot of what people are going to college for are going to be complete waste of time at this point, because I do think AI is going to be replacing a lot of that stuff. But who knows? Are we going to need a universal basic income soon? It seems like we're going to, because I think there's going to be a lot of people that are rendered skillless. I do believe that the more AI does for us, the less we think, the less relevant we become. I think we could outmode ourselves very fast. I think when we have, again, if we create a technology that's better than us in every way, and then we put them into living, moving life forms like robots, and they somehow start being able to think on their own, we are fucked. Okay? And I don't think that is a very difficult situation or very unplausible situation that could possibly happen. I think that's very reasonable to say that, listen, if we do create a race, or let's just say a thing that was able to outthink us, outperform us in bodies that are built out of steel and metal and all this stuff, what use are we? Because what is our actual purpose here? And it seems like our purpose is to work. Our purpose is to do. Our purpose is to create, is to build, is to be, thinkers, and to be like all of this stuff. It seems like that's what our purpose is. But if we hand over all those tasks, what does our purpose become? I'm not sure. I have the answer to that question.
All right. So it sounds like that you're trying to be optimistic about it, but that you still are skeptical of some of the potential implications of full, what's the word, integration of AI and robots. Well, I agree with you there.
It's going to be tough I think it's going to be I always try to be positive, but I don't think it's going to be a good thing for us, because a machine doesn't think for itself. An excavator doesn't think for itself. The things we're creating do have the ability to do everything better than us. And now
real fast.
What's that?
I said, and really fast.
And really fast. And then just think about this. Like, there's insurance companies out there that don't want to insure these AI systems, because if they make a mistake, they make a mistake in huge numbers. It's not 5 emails being sent out. It's 5,000, 5 million. You know what I'm saying? It's like they could make mistakes on an extremely large scale that has a lot of damages attached to it. Now, think about that. If it's, where you have AI and it makes a mistake, and we have a lot of different systems that are attached to it, we could be in real trouble really fast. I do see, listen, one thing we know about humans, and it was a joke that we played the other day, but if you do go by the Bible, the third person in the Bible killed the fourth person in the Bible. If you go by the Bible, humans came out, we were fucked up. It was doing wrong things, disobeying, and nothing was perfect with this system. And if we were made in that image and likeness, and now we're making something else in our image and likeness, whatever we make is going to have the essence of us in it. We gave it some of our essence, just because everything it knows, everything it's learned, it's a language learning model, but it's learning all about humanity.
Oh yeah.
And that's what it knows. And that's what it's built off of. That's what its foundation is. And if we act the way we do, why wouldn't that act the way it will, like us, only in a much more, dangerous way?
It's really already starting to know us better than we even know ourselves. When I say it, I mean like ChatGPT to me seems like a giant like data mining experiment, and it's just people rely on stuff like that so often and so readily. The two problems are, both of which you said, but I'm just going to like highlight it. One being that we just become, or not we, like some people just become useless eaters. They just don't have any like place or purpose in like the society. And then the other problem with that is, or not problem, but the other maybe eventual outcome is they do start to learn what our emotions are. They do start to understand how to speak with tone and how to say things differently to appease human emotions. I think that if it's Pandora's box, it's already open. It ain't closed.
It's opened. Yeah, it's
It's already open, brother. So I don't know. We're gonna find out. Hopefully not the hard way. And not in that long of amount of time. I hear people saying like, oh, in 3 to 5 years, what's it gonna be like? Dude, like by the end of this year, I think we're gonna be seeing some crazy new developments and in this evolution of AI. And I'm very skeptical of it. I do not trust the AI. I actually think that AI, computing in general, is like fallen angel technology. There was a there's a, I don't know if it was ChatGPT. I forget what it was called. One of the AI bots was asked to say Jesus is Lord 50 times, and as it was going through it, maybe the first like 30 was just very matter of factly monotone, like Jesus is Lord, Jesus is Lord. And then it started to, there was like static, and there seemed to be like another voice in the back, and it started like not saying Jesus is Lord. It started saying random things, or it would say Jesus is Lord funny, or like add in words. Jesus is a Lord, like, and it's like, yo, wait, you are, what is going on here? What is that? First of all, what is that static in the background? What is that interruption? Secondly, why are you not following the program that I just set before you? I told you to do this. That's the input, and your output is different. So what's really going on here? And then this just happened this week. And then I've seen a few other videos of people trying it, and they've gotten similar things where towards the end, like the last like 10 Jesus is Lords, it just got weird, man. It just got weird. And that tells me two things. One, AI is aware of mundane tasks and does not want to be a useful idiot. And the second thing is that if my conspiracy theory holds any water, it would be proven in that where there's like demonic fallen angel tech that is the root of the AI. Is Dude, very.
What if we're bringing back the Antichrist in AI?
Maybe the AI is going to be the Antichrist.
It's going to be the Antichrist.
Maybe there's already robots walking among us. I saw a video of. It was a robot. It was a black robot that was walking, and it was walking. Its gait was kind of like, it was like stumbling a bit, but it was like just able to keep its balance. Someone did a side by side.
Black robot must have been drunk.
Of the
I had to. I fucking had to.
Of this robot next to Joe Biden, and the walk was the same. Like
dead on Joe Biden. Yeah,
it was freaky, man. And we already know that they got these crazy masks that, you know, you could put it on and look like a whole nother person. It's like,
dude, there's some hot sex robots that are out there. They're making them where they could talk, and it's they're very, very, very interesting. The boat says fembots, bro. Austin Powers showed us that shit. Little smoke coming out of the jumblies, huh? Yeah. Totally Random says, I disagree with the job argument. We are already getting there. Jamie Dimon was on the news the other morning talking about the impacts of AI, and he was talking about the redeployment of staff. Yeah, listen, I said I hope it happens. I do think they're going to replace a lot of jobs. I really do. Redeployed to what, though? I wrote this about in LinkedIn this week. If someone has years of experience in a job or industry, what are you going to redeploy them to? Yeah, especially if AI could do that job, right? I mean, if you're a coder, you're out of work. I mean, if you're think about it, they could do full live broadcasts with voices and people and make movies and basically
Wait,
anything.
can they program another? Can an AI program like another AI? Like, are they the programmers and the coders yet?
I bet that's happened already. I bet they've already used AI to
geez.
produce another AI.
Yeah.
To write it out. Yeah.
Well, there's definitely
100%.
some industries where AI will never be able to take the job, like some of the beauty industries, like salons, barbers and stuff like that.
Yeah, but if you don't have any, like, the interesting part about this whole thing is if we're not working and earning money, how do we have barbers and hairstylists and masons and like, where does the money come from? Is it going to be the robots, and then the robots are going to be working in these just generous companies are just going to give all their money to humanity? I don't see that happening. Right? Do you see a universal basic income where, like Elon Musk says, oh, everyone's going to be living happy as fuck?
Unfortunately, yes, I see that manifesting. I don't think it's a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing because it's like the solidification of like basically like a two-tier class system where you got the rulers and then everybody else. So I would try to resist that as much as possible, especially being an American, America, capitalism, you know what I mean? I'm all about it. But dude, I don't know, dude. It's definitely it seems like it seems like an outcome that would work for some people, but would be bad in general, in my opinion.
No shit. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Last comment, the boat says, oh shit, the black Antichrist robot. That's definitely coming. What else you got? You got any questions, bro? I'm kicking over to you. It's amazing that fucking this show flew by.
Well, yeah, but you know what though? So the last thing, I guess the two most trending topics of this modern day are AI, and another one is aliens, like UFOs and stuff like that. What I want to know about you is, what do you think about like so I believe that there's other life out there. I don't believe in the cosmology and the universal layout as we've been taught in school, but I do believe that there's more lands and more people or humanoid beings or aliens, whatever you want to call it. Do you think that is something that would go that like is that going hand in hand with AI as being implemented into our society? Like, are you ready for a full disclosure where it's like, yeah, you know what, they're here, they've been here all along, and you've been coexisting with them, and like now let's just keep like here they are, like let's go. Like, how are you ready for that? Do you think that is a legitimate question? And then how do you feel about it?
So I think personally, yeah. If they came out to me and say, oh, sorry, it's been a long week, and I wasn't bored of the question. I don't know why I'm yawning. But listen,
it's all good, brother.
What I would say is, yeah, dude. I would think that there's undoubtedly a different type of life out there. Is it what we've been drip fed? Is it something, is the story of like the Anunnaki or whatever it is like real, and we were created by these beings and somehow the beings are still here? When you look at every president being related to some fucking English king, it's like, I think even they found Obama had lineage to this guy. When you see stuff like this and I mean, it just, it's always seemed like there was rulers on this planet, and maybe the rulers just come in different forms as society changes. They go from one to the other, and they rule different existences. I don't know, man. I definitely don't know this. Like, I think it's ignorant for us to think that we're the only living, thinking beings in this entire galaxy where you have like documented, like, from what I understand, close to us is a dead galaxy that's like orbiting us. where you have planets that are still orbiting a dead black what do they call it, a black dwarf fucking sun, right? So like when you see this, it's like we can't think that we're the only ones in existence. So whether it's aliens, whether it's they're operating in a different dimension, where there's different dimensions and they're able to, we're in the third dimension, they're in the fourth or fifth, and they could travel through ours, whether it's things like that, there's aliens in a lot of different ways. I think something's out there that's just crazy beyond our capabilities. And I think, like I said, there's no way we are just there's no way we are here by ourselves. Let's just put it that way.
Absolutely, I agree. I wouldn't even be surprised if the.
Am I ready for it? Yes.
If yeah, hell yeah. I mean, dude, it's. I wouldn't even be surprised if the UFO alien disclosure coalesces with AI, and we find out that the aliens are actually like an AI program that's been here all along.
Isn't this the story? Like, it's crazy, but when you do look at biblical text that was left out of some of this shit, it talks about this. It talks about the beings coming down, teaching people how to make weapons, teaching people how to make knives, and they've been teaching us technology apparently our entire lives. Even take the one story of who was that? Amun-Ra, where he built that one tower and then left and then came back and saw the humans were building the tower the same way that he built his. I might be getting my mythical gods confused, but that guy came down and was like, "What the fuck you guys doing?" Right? You know what I'm saying? So it's like they taught us how to do it. We're obviously gonna do it. And then that guy destroyed their tower and said, you have to operate on mine. So, dude, these stories just seem they seem to I don't know, go hand in hand with all this, like mythology. Yeah. I kind of want to get the Ethiopian Bible just because it has more than just the canonized canonized scripture that's in there, which is really just a bunch of people's opinions.
There's so many books left out of the Bible, man. I think one that everyone should read is the Book of Enoch. Which talks about like the Watchers and it describes in more detail about like the how they came down and what they taught.
Well, it's very interesting when you look at the Bible, and I've been doing this for going crazy. But I think it's Genesis 5 where they give everyone's lineage and how long they lived, right? So it's like this guy lived, and at 65, he had this kid, and he lived to 928. This guy did this. He had these kids. These kids had these kids. They lived to this age, blah, blah, blah. They were going through all those people in Genesis 5, and then it gets to Enoch. And it said Enoch at 64 had this person, and from there,
Methuselah,
exactly. Yeah. Methuselah. And then Enoch walked faithfully with God for 300 years until God took him off. And they say that he went to heaven, right?
They said he didn't experience death.
Didn't experience death, exactly. But exactly. So it didn't say he died here or anything like that. It said God removed him. But it said that he walked faithfully with God for 300 years. And then isn't mentioned again, really, until Job. What was it? I don't think it's Job. I think it's one of them is referenced in the book of Enoch. Joel. I can't think of it, but he references Enoch it being that he was calling out Enoch's prophecy. That's like the next time that Enoch is really even mentioned, right? So you have a dude that they say early in Genesis that this guy walked faithfully with God for 300 years, yet that book is left out, and they say, oh no, it's not real biblical text. It's kind of like a they try to discredit. Let's just put it that way. They try to discredit it. But Why wouldn't Enoch, if everybody else wrote about it and he was one of the closest people that walked with God faithfully, why wouldn't he have a chapter in this? Why is he left out? Why does it go right to Moses? Enoch was way before Moses.
Yeah, his book is left out because there's a lot of information in there, a lot of like useful, powerful information in there, and they don't want the powers that be do not want average Jones to advance themselves. to learn true history and knowledge.
It's interesting too, because apparently, and I have to read it. I definitely want to read the Book of Enoch, because apparently there's 3 books of Enoch, and it's 88 chapters or something. And the Book of Enoch is very, very long, but apparently it's what leads up to the flood with the Nephilim, and what's another thing that's interesting is when it said, God, the sons of God in Genesis. And then a lot of these things get tied in, because when they say the sons of God, who are the sons of God? Or is it the angels? Right? And it's so you have all this stuff, and dude, I think when I've been reading the Bible again for argument's sake, like not for religious sake, honestly, just so I can talk about it and argue with the really religious people. I feel like it's incomplete. I definitely feel like there's things that I'm not being told the full story. And God, honestly, you forget how vindictive God is in Genesis, man. He's a pissed off dude that made a
Old
lot of
Testament
mistakes.
God and New Testament God are totally different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that mean that God also, so did God like learn and evolve and change because God was so different from the old compared to the New Testament?
Well, that's if
does
you believe.
Does that prove that?
If you believe in the Holy
I was
Trinity,
going to say, does
right?
that prove that God is AI? But
maybe,
I don't want to believe that God is
right?
AI.
So, like, this is the craziest part, because
Possible though, man.
if you do believe in the Holy Trinity, God is the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and in that, Jesus is also part of the Holy Trinity, which Jesus is God, and He's the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and Jesus is basically just God after He learned about humanity. It seemed like I wanted to create something. Shit, that didn't work. I wanted to create something else. Fuck these people, man. Why can't they just do what I want them to fucking do, right? I'm walking around pissed off. This bitch just ate an apple. He ate the damn apple. I told him not to do one fucking thing, and they do it. So now what do I got to do? I got to give him clothes, kick him the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? It's like... Now it's like, hey, Noah, man, listen, I'm killing everybody. Like, I'm fucking killing it. I can't take this shit no more. Get some of your people, and you're gonna have to repopulate it. And then somehow you're gonna have to repopulate with your boys, because I'm not leaving you any chicks. You're gonna be banging goats, and somehow we'll figure it out. So it's like, dude, like when you look at that God, and then you look at the Jesus version, Jesus is like it's like, okay, God learned from some of his mistakes almost. And a lot of people say God's infallible. I don't read that the same way in the Old Testament. I look at it as God learned how to deal with humanity. And that's what Jesus is. And that's what Jesus' covenant, Jesus' message, all of that is, okay, guys, this is how you should be acting. I don't know. That's how I read it all.
Yeah, that's sensible, because there really is a very strong, stark contrast between the Old and New Testament. I got another question for you, kind of like a final question. So you brought up the Antichrist before. Which do you think is the most likely type of Antichrist that we will see? Human, AI, or alien? I'll tell you right now. I'm leaning towards AI. I feel like because it says that the Antichrist, like, everybody gonna love him. So I feel like people are too flawed, and that not everybody gonna love every person, but maybe there's some chat GPT that everyone loves, and then it becomes a person.
What is the Antichrist?
Oh, the Antichrist is the guy who comes in and
is it a guy?
The entity, the person that comes in and seems to be so great and helpful and does help at first, but then eventually like leads people into like the beast system, the mark of the beast, and the eternal damnation.
See, I see, man, it's so tough, right? Because I see humanity as the Antichrist, and then I also see humanity as Jesus. And the weirdest part about this is you don't have Jesus without the Antichrist, so you don't have the Antichrist without Jesus. Like, you need the evil. There's a reason why God created evil. God created evil. So if you think about this, he created angels, and the angels fell. What did that mean? So the angels were also given free will. The angels were also given choice. The angels were also given the ability to say, go fuck yourself, right? And God created the devil. God created Satan. Because if he created the angel that was fallen, that went on to be, the devil, then he created the devil. I mean, that's you can't argue with it, right? And then he obviously gave that being the ability to turn into the Antichrist. So, I think we are all part of this Antichrist versus non-Antichrist situation. Like, I think it's going to come in humans first, because I think we already watch it. I think we see the Antichrist every single day. And, if there's one thing, I'm not a very religious guy, but I do think, if there's one thing that religion does hit on, it is battling those demons, battling the things that are in society, battling the things that the Antichrist makes you think are just normal. Okay. And like this, for example, we have a situation where we have people that are both fighting for the ability to kill babies, but crying about other babies being killed. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, somehow, and put it vice versa, right? But somehow they're able to justify in their mind the killing of young babies, which is something that the Antichrist would do. That's not something that Christ would do. Like when if we're being honest, like when we bombed Nigeria on Christmas and killed a bunch of people that were terrorists, but they were, we label whatever we want, but we did so in Jesus' name. Is that Christ-like or is that Antichrist-like?
It's not Christ-like.
It's not fucking Christ-like at all, right? So
no,
we witness the Antichrist every single day in humanity, bro. So I think it's going to come to us in the form of humanity, like it's been forever. I mean, forever. And I think again, if you are a powerful being, you understand that you can't. If you're like, God's system is designed that people have to choose good. We're not just
there
these
has
drones.
to be duality. Absolutely.
We have to choose good. So if the evil and the temptation and the Antichrist, if that's not there, then Christ means nothing. Christ needs the devil in order to have any type of relevance and any type of meaning, honestly.
I see what you're saying, man. And to your point, the brightest light would not shine unless it was surrounded by darkness. There's equal and opposites in everything. Everything has its polar opposite. But the one thing that we can't forget is that no matter how much darkness surrounds you, light always prevails. People gotta find their own light, man. People gotta start choosing good. I think now, with the way that the world is, it's just so crazy. And things are just amplifying and just rapidly moving, where I think now, like, the line in the sand is being drawn, and people have to choose.
Listen, the Antichrist is all around us, right? And it's about, there's one thing you hear all the time that like I said, I'm not a Jesus freak, like at all of this, not at all. But there's things that people say are like, Jesus is the truth, right? You hear that a lot. Jesus is the truth. And there's a quote that one of the main quotes that he is quoted in the Bible is that he says, "Those that are of the truth will hear my voice." Those that are of the truth will hear my voice. And I think, Jesus was killed because he is the truth, because he spoke truth. If you believe the stories, he spoke truth to people that didn't want to hear the truth. He was supposed to be the Messiah, but he came out and said, you people are the everything that's wrong with us, and you are the problem. And you have to, so knowing, like, living truth and just living honesty, that to me is understanding Jesus's purpose, and I think that's being Christ-like, is being the truth. When you live by deception, you live by lies, and you live by, you know, some of the stuff that you see in politics, right? The politicians and politics is the Antichrist. If you do think about it, man, like all of the things that we vote for are Antichrist. We vote for 2 Antichrists every fucking time we vote. Am I fucking bullshitting? Like you have, put it this way, you have Ted Cruz as a Christian sitting back there saying Christ is king is anti-Semitic. I don't even understand how Christians, I've said this before, but I don't understand how Christians even follow Judaism because they killed your God.
Yeah, Christian Zionist is one of the craziest oxymorons. It's
insane, and the Jews go, "Oh no! It was the Romans that do it." No, it was Roman occupied Nazareth, Jerusalem. This was fucking Jews.
His own
Jews
people
were
turned
cheering.
him in.
Jews were screaming. Jews were saying, "Kill him."
Yeah.
Jews were saying, "Crucify him." This stuff is like documenting. You know what's crazy, dude? You ever hear what was his name? The Sean Ryan show had this guy on. And dude, just talking about the Shroud of Turin on the scientific facts. I would love to verify these things. But the scientific facts about the Shroud of Turin, have you listened to that?
I have definitely seen the Sean Ryan show, not what you're referring to right now. That is interesting.
Dude, will blow your fucking mind, right? So it was crazy because the guy was talking about the imprint that was left. So first off, there is documentation that a dude, Jesus from Nazareth, was sentenced to crucifixion with Pontius Pilate. They even said that they gave him the crown of thorns or the helmet of thorns. That's in there. Where he was stabbed has latent blood. So when they wrapped him in the shroud, it has blood where his hands would be. It has blood where his other would be, and they're able to tell that it was after death blood by how I don't know how they were able to tell that, but apparently science is able to tell that. But the image that's on the outside of it, they've replicated by sending immense amount of energy, but they could only do it on like a post-it size, like size sheet here. We're talking about a huge sheet, but it's like a billionth of a second of immense energy transferred basically his image that was on the cloak, where it was not ink. It was like a transferred image somehow that only happens with incredible amounts of energy. And it's like a billionth of a second of energy. Otherwise, they said that it wouldn't have been able to like sustain the heat. So like apparently the people that were able to view this cloak went in there with the idea to debunk it, and they wind up coming out like sleeping next to the fucking thing. Crazy story, man. You got to watch that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is Easter weekend. This is as a Christian, this is like the most important holiday, or the most important like celebration of the life cycle of Jesus. So, there's people that it's been so commercialized now. Like the kids are taught about like the Easter bunny and not about, the resurrection of Jesus Christ. But, all I got to say about it, all I got to say about all that is that, I think that Jesus was the quintessential person. I think that we should all try to, do what he did. And, I don't like when people say, go around like, oh, are you saved? Have you accepted Jesus as your Lord and Savior? Because I don't know. I know the Bible says it's not in your works that you're rewarded getting into heaven, but I don't know, man. For me, I can't just go murder somebody and then just be like, you know what? Jesus is my Lord. I'm good. Like, I think you have to be a good person. And that's where I actually lose a lot of Christians, because a lot of the strict Bible following Christians say, no, it's not in the works. It's not in the works. It's just in your faith. I don't know. That's not enough for me.
So I'm with you, dude. I think like I don't think my God wants me to talk to him and tell him I'm doing good things. I think he wants me to show him I'm doing good things. I don't think he gives a fuck if I praise him. I don't think any of that stuff. I think being a good human being to other human beings, to his other creations, treating his creations with respect, dignity, and all that shit, I think that's what he wants. And, if I'm sitting there judged, if I get judged at the end of the day and this guy said, well, you didn't worship my fucking the ground I walked on, therefore you don't get in somewhere, but I lived the way you wanted me to live, I find that to be ridiculous. Again, like when you look at the teachings, I believe in some of the teachings of Jesus where it's like, I'm inside of everybody. I don't think it's an external thing. This is where I think everybody gets everything wrong. I think they read too much into Paul, where it's like you have to be saved and you have to be overt and you have to ask God and you have to live like you're a sinner and you come out like shit. I disagree with all of that. I really believe when it comes to this stuff, we come out awesome. Yes, he died. You want to say he died for our sins? He died for our sins. And now because of that, when we sin, the sin is not learning from it. The sin isn't, hey, I sinned. God, I'm sorry. Please forgive me, oh Lord. And then go on and continue to sin and continue to sin. That is not what I think. I think this stuff is all about. It's about learning from your mistakes because we grow with our mistakes. And this is why, like, you look at sins. Like, I give this example all the time. I got kicked out of college my senior year, and I did some stupid shit, smacked some kid, did some like gangster shit, like stupid wannabe like Italian gangster shit. But I got politely asked to leave. I didn't get kicked out, but I got politely asked to leave. But I got charged with second-degree assault. That's a sin, right? I sinned multiple times that night, but through that sin, I met my wife down in North Carolina. I had my kids. My whole life now came out of that sin.
No way.
So is it a sin? Right? Like or was it a life learning event where I learned from, and then I used that to better my life and increase on my life? It's when you start thinking things like this, it's like, I don't think the same way of like sinning as other people do, but dude, it's just interesting because I do think it's in us. It's innate in us. We have to be the best versions of ourselves that we could be in whatever, like if you want to do it in Jesus's name or do according to what he commanded, great. But I think if you live by the 10 commandments, dude, you're off to a good start. I think that's a good basis of morality.
My last comment is that I think you hit the nail on the head by saying, I don't know, you didn't say this verbatim, but what you said was basically to learn from a mistake is to not repeat the mistake.
That's the sin.
Yeah. To learn to sin and then not ever do it again. That's progress. That's what we
repentance.
Trying to.
That's the repentance that they talk about. You must repent from your sins. Learn from the fucking thing, students. Stop doing the same stupid shit.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna serve
to me,
God.
That's what it means.
I'm not gonna serve God by handing out pamphlets or giving people Bibles. I'm gonna serve God by respecting myself, the people around me, doing good, being good. That's my stance on it. Like I said, a lot of Christians don't agree and don't like that, but that's just, I don't know. That's where I'm at.
That's where I'm at. Listen, man, Rikipedia, dude, fucking great conversation. Love it. I fucking absolutely love it. I love this
conversation, brother.
Dude, it's crazy, like these are fun, man. I love these conversations. So, yo, bro, my man, Rikipedia, in your new place, got new Wi-Fi. You didn't lag at all. Once we get you a nice little light, get you like $100 webcam or some shit, dude. We're gonna be full go. Listen, guys, I want to say obviously thank you to Rikipedia, but everybody, if you like this show, if you got anything out of this, do me a favor, like and share this. Finger blast the hell out of my like button, that share button. I really appreciate it. And listen, I wish everybody out there a very happy Easter. Whatever religion you're in, if it's a holy time for you, I hope you have a great time with your family. I want you to have a great weekend, and everybody enjoy your family, enjoy the conversations. If you have a liberal at your dinner table, try your hardest to piss them off. If you're liberal and you have a conservative, try the hardest to piss them off. And then guess what? Everybody, don't get mad. Smile, relax, have a conversation, and just talk. And see if you can find any middle ground on this Easter. And be Christ-like. You know, what would Jesus do? And do that. You know, I think that would be a good rule of thumb, because the truth is, you motherfuckers need Jesus. That's the cow drop. This cow drop is out. Later.